Onegaishimasu.
Onegaishimasu.
Okay, if we start with some zazen, opportunity to turn inward, release and open, physically, mentally, energetically, breath-wise, touching all those different areas with our awareness, allowing, encouraging, intending, releasing and opening. Okay. And let's start with the neck. So slowly down, chin to the chest, and then pointing the chin to the ceiling, getting a stretch in the front of the neck. And our awareness is keenly in the vertebrae of the neck. We're residing in the area of the body that we're moving and using. So everything begins with awareness. Everything is infused with awareness. Just as much mind work as body work. And then here to the shoulder and just joining with gravity, allowing gravity to do that stretch for us. And even our switching, that's very intention filled. Our intention, or the weight of our attention, is what moves our head to the next position. So moving away from empty body movement. So not just moving the body to the other side because we know that's what we're supposed to do. It's intention filled. So we're integrating the mind-body connection, training the mind to be more clear, more sharp, in a sense, training the mind to be the true leader, training the body to be soft, released, and open, to be a more genuine follower. There's that old ancient Asian saying, the mind is host and the body is guest. So that's kind of a poetic way of putting that principle. In Aikido, the simple phrase is typically, and in Tai Chi as well, the mind leads the body. Mind leads the body. So our intention will turn our head. Our intention brings the head around the other way. And so literally, it's the weight of your attention that's moving the body. Right now, it might be fairly easy, perhaps because we're just working a relatively small part of our body. But this applies to when we're moving the whole body. This applies to when we're moving limbs. There is a field of intention, a field of awareness, and a field of intention. And ultimately, that's what will motivate the body. And that's the internal work and the energetic work. And dropping the chin to the chest and rolling the head. So we're just hanging the head with gravity. It's our intention that turns that into a movement. And intending to the center of the chest. Again, our mind moves up and the head is swept up in that mental movement. We'll start shoulder rolls. Again, first, the core, the root of every movement is awareness and intention. We send our mind into our spine, this area, maybe the thoracic area, and we roll our mind, we roll our feeling, and that's why the shoulders start moving. So we don't move our shoulders and then notice how that feels. Starts with awareness, starts with intention, and the body is swept up in the current of our intention. And so warm-ups then become a tremendous, not just warming up the body, that's just kind of a side benefit. Warm-ups become really the true internal training. And then the whole idea is to take all that we were practicing in the warm-ups into the so-called techniques, into the foundational movements. But warm-ups, these movements, these warm-ups here are really the chance to get deep with the training because the movements are relatively simple. And this movement we did just last time with the rolling of the spine. Those are kind of conducive to this mental intentional work. So let's go through those again. Because they're simple, smooth movements, get a chance to really sink the intention into the body. So starting from the center or the base or the hips, and then one vertebrae after the other rolling forward. So our intention gets that moving. And coming back, send, rotate the hips forward, send the center forward. Let the spine kind of be dragged through that motion. And then one bone at a time is pulled forward. Being as acutely conscious as we can of our spine as we roll the spine. Okay, and then we can do that the other way too, where we send the center back. So the lower back fills out back, and then one vertebrae at a time until it gets to the neck and up to through the head. And coming forward and sending the lower back again. So another nice training aspect of these specific moves is also, well, more than just relaxation, a waiting and allowing. So we have the intention of sending the center back, or the first vertebrae, and letting the rest of the spine be, in a sense, passively pulled into the rest of that move. So we're learning to kind of just hang out there and just be soft, relaxed, be willing to wait, to not do anything, to have the rest of the move happen for us. So there's a valuable training in patience, in just being with what is, just hanging out, rather than doing everything and getting caught up in excessive, frantic doing, continuous doing. And of course, we can do that through the sides as well, the same process. So the bottom first, and can we be patient enough and not do? So just as much as intention and doing, just as important is the non-doing aspects. In Chinese, it's called wu wei, non-doing. So I send the center out, and can I just not do and allow the rest to be pulled over for me? And then the other way, of course. And that relaxing or allowing is a very pleasurable quality once we can really relax into it. And allows the muscles and connective tissues to release and be passive and not tight and holding on, to allow more movement, more freedom, more range of movement, rather than being tight and brittle, just moving as blocks. So that allowing, releasing, starts to release and open the body. Okay, and then we'll just do some arm swings. A nice long spine, belly released. And then Minuchi to the front corners, letting those arms make a large, long arc down, large arc forward. So we're not really worrying about coming up, we're flowing forward, out to the corners. The arms will inscribe an arc on their own. Okay, a little stretch back. And a little bend. Equal awareness through both arms. Coming up into a horse stance, pushing out. And staying deep in the hips, sinking down, describing an arc behind us, pushing the hips through, starting very small and gentle until we know that our body is ready for that movement. Again, can we stay in our body? Can we reside in our body with a clear, strong awareness and move our will or move our intention? And the body passively is following, even more than that, not just following, the body is moved. The body is relaxed and open. Has to be both relaxed and soft, but also has to be open and spacious to be a good sail. And if it's a good refined sail, the slightest puff of wind can move that boat, which is our body. But if that sail is condensed, heavy, dense, or again, just not even lifted, it's totally collapsed, it's not even raised, the strongest wind won't really move the boat. So that wind is our intentional current, is our mind flow, is our intention. Our body is that sail. Opening up, releasing, relaxing, softening the body. That's half the equation. The other half is the development of the mind, awareness and intention. Okay, that little arch, so send the intention through the hips and then up through the torso, through the hand blades. Breathe through the stretch, and in fact, allow your body to become emptier and more open. So your breath actually moves more and more through the entire body. The body becomes an empty vessel, even in a stretch. So that means not to stretch too aggressively at first. You don't stretch further than what you can stay relaxed and open, not just relaxed, but open and released. Not stretching any further than you can maintain that openness and spacious quality. So intention through the hips, up through the torso, through the sharp hand blades, and then staying within your body with your mind and your breath. Forward, so your breath and your energy just extends further through the arms and now the fingertips. And a little harder, a little trickier, but eventually it's the same through the legs. That even as we're using the legs, whether we're stretching them or actively using them, lower body as well becomes more and more open, empty, more and more porous, transparent. So the mind and the breath energy can move more and more freely through that part and eventually all parts. Coming up by sending the mind forward, pushes the hips through, up through the fingertips. And some hip circles, so enter the body, move your mind in and through the body. That's why the hips are moving. Totally different than, okay, hip circles, move my body. Okay, now get with it mentally now. That's normal. So the intention, the internal arts are intention arts. Sync awareness and intention in the body. I move my will, I move my feeling, the body is swept up by that. So very different quality, very different technology, very different process than normal. Normal is external. I move, and then not all of me has to be doing it. It's empty, it's superficial, it's surface, it's external. So changing directions means the mind is what changes the direction for the body. And it's actually good and fun to change the directions a lot, to experience that transition, that change. So as the mind is leading the body in this direction, clearly, strongly send the mind the other way, mental direction the other way, and notice and watch your body follow. Eventually, the body has to follow as the mind-body connection develops. The body becomes a better servant, the mind becomes a better, clearer leader. And a little bit with the knees. Of course, we want to take this into everything we do when we go for a walk. So this technology, this internal training is not just for a particular art, for a particular form, but for ultimately everything that we do. So everything becomes infused with awareness and intention. Mind in the center, bring the hips forward to bring you up. Let's do a little bit more arm swings with the arms. So very light horse stance. We're going to pulse up and down. So that's pressing into the ground to send us up and having the intention to have that affect the arms, but not doing it with the arms. So we're also practicing, again, that releasing, opening, softening quality of the body. And then you can pulse a little bit more vibrantly to get a larger arc, and eventually perhaps a full circle, but try to be passive, completely passive in the arms. So we're doing working and non-working, doing and non-doing. The arms are the non-doing. So of course that's the yin and the yang, but most, again, normal stuff is everything is doing. Everything is doing, everything is tight. So there's no openness for enlightenment to happen. There's no openness. There's no real freedom. There's no space or openness for the rest of the universe to participate. We pinch ourselves off from the largest part of the universe with our attention, with our doings. Tense mind, tense body pinches us off from the flow of the larger universe. Okay. Shall we go through the program?
Yep, guess we should.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So, yeah, if you'll go ahead and do some Tai no Henko, take your time.
So just tell me if if you want me to be facing a different direction, I can go towards.
Okay, yeah, okay, let's try this.
Okay.
Okay, good. And then Kokyu Ho Undo, so a more smooth, continuous version. Good, okay. So Tenkan Undo, 90 degrees with the slide step, so covering more ground. Excellent. Okay, then 180 degrees, Tankon with a slide step.
I gotta go this way. I don't have enough room.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, good. Okay, thank you. Manuchi ki undo, shiho undo. So 4-direction Manuchi. Yes. Okay. Now your favorite, Ushiro Shiko.
Favorite.
And Bonnie, for this, actually for the next one too, would you be able to tip the camera down just a bit?
Actually, I'll move it down here a little bit. Is that better?
Perfect, yeah. Yes, very, very nice. Very nice. And so the next two are good down there too. So Yoko Otoshi, Ukumi Undo, side break fall, side to side. Excellent. Okay. And then one more Ukumi. So my Otoshi, Ukumi Undo, front break fall. Good. Now let's just do a couple when you, and also when you train this further, just a slight refinement. That's perfect what you're doing, and that's the setup. Now have yourself turn your head as you fall. The reason why I'm saying that is because you're doing everything exactly right. Body position, head position, fall. Now you want to train yourself to turn your head in the midst of the fall.
Okay.
Obviously, we don't want to be late with the turning of the head, of course. But now you may not, when a fall happens, you won't be able to turn your head beforehand. So now work with the training where as you're falling, you clearly and cleanly turn the head as you're falling. It's just that.
Like that?
Yeah. Yeah.
I read before.
Yeah. So now you're training the body to know to turn the head when it's surprised. When it's falling, I'm falling, turn my head when I'm falling forward. Yeah. Excellent. Okay. And then Ushiro Sugiyashi. So Sugiyashi to the rear corner.
Sure. This is the right.
So your front foot moves offline and slide step to the back corner. Yeah. Good. Let's do a couple on each corner, each side.
Okay, two on each.
Yeah, 2 on each side. Yeah.
Oops. Try that again.
Sure. Okay. And then Ushiro Ayumiyashi. Excellent, excellent. So that's
That's it.
yeah, that's tremendous performance. In fact, that's a really good template for others to see that because everything is impeccable.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Shape, form, crisp, clear movement. So it's actually really good to have this, and then people coming in perhaps use this as a reference because that's excellent. Okay, well let's finish with misogi and we'll bow out. So again, not just standing here, but standing with presence, with awareness, infusing our body with awareness, which also means infusing our body with presence. And whether you feel that or not, if not, then eventually it becomes a palpable thing where you become filled, filled with presence, filled with awareness. That's a very, very pleasant feeling. Another way of putting it, a simple way, is you become filled with chi or ki, ki infused. You're filled with chi. But as you get more familiar with that, becomes even more intention filled. It's really a quality of presence, very full sense of presence. And then from there, we just get into a bit more internal movement, consciously using the breath. Breathing in is an active conscious expansion. Breathing out is choosing to direct the energy back towards the center for the quality of consolidation, settling. So this is yang or yang, expansive, expanding out from the center. And then yin is drawing back, settling back to the center. So yin and yang. But that's all a matter of being mobilized by will or feeling. It's an opportunity to maybe notice some little bit of tension in the shoulders, either holding in or doing the movement with the arms and shoulders. So as we get slow and soft, we start to notice those remnants of tension that are still lingering. And we have an opportunity to release even further and more profoundly. So again, the body becomes cultivated, become more soft, more released, and therefore it can become more opened and filled with the movement of ki or the presence of attention. Now, slight addition to this, another way of working with the mind and the body and the energy. And at first, it might just be a mental exercise, but again, eventually, as you become more sensitive to the mind and to the ki, the body becomes cultivated, it becomes a very palpable experience. You breathe in, as we mentioned, the breath expands. Keep the breath out there, keep the bubble of energy out there, even as you breathe out. And the hands have to kind of press back, press through that energy bubble or that expansive energy that we're allowing to continue. To breathe in sets the expansion. Energy continues to expand even as we breathe out, and we have to kind of press back through that. And you will feel that as a pressure, that you're having to move through something, through a thick medium. And once you start to feel that, that's a direct experience of chi or ki and the energizing triggering of that chi expansion or ki flow. Breathe in, body expands, energy expands, breath expands. Breath and energy continue to expand even as you breathe out and try to bring the arms back towards the body. And this time, slowly press the hands all the way to the body. And you can breathe normally, but continuing to have that outward flow, that expansion outward of the energy and mind, and pressing through that till you get to your physical body. Continuing to let your belly be released, your body be open and expansive, weight sinking through the legs. And then you can intend to drop the arms and hands and continue to have the belly open and released. Notice your posture. Notice the quality of the body, the feeling of the body, the feeling around the body. Connection with the ground, connection with the space around you, immediately close to the body. Noticing the quality of the breath and the action of the breath. Good. Okay. Let's bow out. Domo arigato gozaimasu. Thank you very much. It's a small class, but
Thank you so much. That was awesome. Yeah, the energy work is really great too. Yeah, such a great journey.
good, good. I'm glad you can notice some of the energy work.
Yes,
That's something that takes time to tune into it and for the mind and body to be sensitive enough. So it's always becomes a very exciting journey once that becomes experienceable.
mhm. No, I'm doing different things to try and open the body and yeah, it's interesting, how not all of a sudden, then just one day you notice something different. So
It's
it's not
true.
but anyway.